Hello, sports lovers. Welcome to the most authoritative sporting channel here on social media. This is your boy, man. Today's episode, I'm going to talk about the first of many Riyadh season that will be happening in the United States of America. And this one is going to be in Los Angeles and it will be hosted at the BOM Stadium. The headline fighters are Terence Crawford, who is a two-time undisputed champion of the world, and the current WBA junior middleweight champion of the world, Israil, the Dream Madrimov. And this fight promises to be very, very interesting because Terence Crawford is going to face the biggest task of his career, whilst Israil would have a task of climbing a hill which may be taller than him. On that fight card, we have former world champion Andy Ruiz Jr., who beat Anthony AJ Joshua on the 19th of June to become a world champion, and the man who forfeited his opportunity, Gerald Miller. The two would be colliding as Gerald Anderson, one of the best heavyweight prospects in the world, would be coming face to face with the world champion in sparring in the person of Martin Bacoli. Now, there are other interesting people on the fight card, and they are David Morrell, Isaac Cruz, Andy Cruz, Anthony Morrell, Jose Venezuela. These are all good guys, decent and good boxers that would be putting their lives on the line for our entertainment. But I'll be focusing on the first three fights I mentioned. That is Terence Crawford versus Israil the Dream Madridov, then Gerald Anderson versus Martin Bacoli. Then the third fight will be Andy Ruiz Jr. and Gerald Miller. Those are the three fights I'm going to focus on this episode. So if this is the kind of content you do enjoy on social media, stay with your boy Med, subscribe, like, comment, and share. Now to the first fight, which is between Terence Crawford and the undefeated Israil Madrimov. This fight is going to be a tough fight for both of them. The challenge both of them have accepted is quite admirable. Terence Crawford, who has of late been struggling to make the welterweight limit, chose to go up in weight and challenge for a world title, and he is coming up against a formidable champion in the person of the Dream Madrimov. I think that this fight is going to be a very, very tough fight. I see Terence Crawford boxing on the back foot in the first few rounds. That is the first three rounds of the fight, as you try to measure the distance and timing, because in this fight, the key to victory for Terence Crawford is distance, judging his distance and getting his timing right. The jump must be there, but his timing must be very, very accurate. Anything he lands must be heavy, and if he makes Israil misses, he must make it pay. Whilst Israil, he is hungry, he is willing to put his undefeated record on the line to propel his and catapult his career to the top level, because a victory against Terence Crawford will automatically put him in the pound for pound list, and that would go a long way to dent the plans of His Excellency Turki Alashe, who has been giving us great boxing events over the years. Now, Terence Crawford is a pound for pound great fighter by all standards. You may have him number one, but you can't have him below number two. He is either number one or number two on many pound for pound lists. Whilst Israil Madrimov is not a well-tested fighter, but he is rich in terms of amateur experience. He has been in a lot of Asia games where he has won gold and silver. We know the Eastern Europeans, they take so much pride in the amateur pedigree of their fighters. So he has taken his time to rebuild himself, and he has fought 11 times. He has won 10 and one ended up being a draw. So this is a formidable opponent, having been a world champion in his 12th fight, and the way he knocked his opponent out was just fantastic. Whilst Terence Crawford is an all-round fighter, he is ambidextrous. He can punch, he can use his IQ, he can do a little bit of everything quite perfectly. And not forgetting that Israil also is ambidextrous. That means he can fight both southpaw and orthodox, just like Terence Crawford, but not as well as Terence Crawford. I think that the strength of Madridov coming into this fight is that he is the bigger man, he is the stronger man, he is the harder puncher, and he is hungry. he is hungry for success, and that may be something Terence Crawford might find it difficult to overcome, because a hungry fighter is a very, very dangerous fighter. Whilst Terence Crawford himself is seeking to become a four-time undisputed champion, yes, you can click in the link B above that has shown how I have tailored out how Terence Crawford can become a four-time undisputed champion. Now, he is coming up against one of the best champions in this particular fight. So he must be mentally tougher than he has been throughout his career. The likes of Fendora are champions. I don't know what is happening to the Charlo brothers, but Beckham is also champion. So if he beats Israil, he becomes a champion in the division, and all he needs to do is take part in two unification fights for him to become a world undisputed champion in three divisions. That would be a sensational record. And I think that Terence Crawford is capable of doing that with his level of mental toughness. That is the biggest asset of Terence Crawford. He is equally strong. He has high boxing IQ. His ability to adjust to his opponent without going to his corner are some of the great attributes of Terence Crawford. Whilst Madrimov also has a level of adjustment, but he keeps his hands low, and with Terence Crawford's quickness and his lengthy hand, I think that would also cause him a lots of problem. And in this particular fight, he must have his hand up high. During his amateur days, he have been doing all that, and he hasn't been capitalized on. I think that he is fighting someone who has the IQ and the way to set him up to land that punch that would cause Israil Madrimov lots of problem. And Madrimov shouldn't come into this particular fight trying to jab the suplex of Terence Crawford, because watching the clips of Terence Crawford today, he has always countered people who have been doing that. So if Israil would want to do that, he would be countered by Terence Crawford. We all remember the first knockdown Terence Crawford secured against Errol the True Spence Jr. He was trying to jab to the belly. That was how come Terence Crawford moved out of the way and caught him with that flash knockdown. If that happens to Israil, I think he easily gets frustrated. That is when there would be a dent in his game plan and he starts losing focus. He starts throwing those wild shots, and Terence Crawford would begin would would begin to catch him there and then, and that would cause him lots of problem. And another thing that he doesn't do well is that he throws in those limping shots. And if Terence Crawford catches him with those limping shots, there is trouble for him. Terence Crawford may not be hitting as hard as the others in the division, but when the punch is accurate, it causes you a lot of problems. Now, Terence Crawford I have seen footage of him sparring former light heavyweight champion in the person of Andre Ward. I think that is good, because Andre Ward is bigger than Madrimov, and he comes with better IQ and physical pressure. And if Terence Crawford is able to win the battle against someone like Andre Ward, he can equally win the battle against Madrimov. But Andre Ward is an inactive fighter. He is a retired fighter, though he stays fit and sharp in the gym. He is not as accurate as Madrimov as at now. So Terence Crawford will still need to work more in order to catch up to the level of Madrimov in terms of accuracy and sharpness, because Andre Ward may present the physical presence, he may present the IQ, but he may not present the quickness which Terence Crawford would need in this particular fight. Madrimov also has decent footwork. He shows a lot of angles which can cause Terence Crawford lots of problems. So Terence Crawford does not need to rush in this particular fight. He needs to box on the back foot in the first few rounds to frustrate Madrimov and then start catching him in the fight. Now, there's another thing Terence Crawford must do. Terence Crawford must not lose focus. He must not lose focus, because if he loses focus, he would be caught real bad. Now, talking about another fight on the card is Gerald Anderson and no other person than the sparring world champion Martin Bakoli. Martin Bakoli has just lost one fight, and it was to no other person than the Banty Hatter Michael. Now, ever since that fight, Martin Bakoli has improved. Let's be fair to him. It seems in that particular fight, he wasn't all himself, but he has improved since then. But one thing Martin Bakoli has been doing that is telling me that Martin Bakoli is not a mentally tough guy is that he has been going telling people or anybody who interviews him about his sparring success. Sparring success do not amount to anything under the big light. It is what you do on the night that is what matters. But Martin Bakoli has gone just 7 rounds in 2 years or more, while Gerald Anderson has faced tougher opposition, like fighting the likes of former IBF world champion, the man who walks the earth like a god, in the person of Charles Martin. That was a real asset test for him. Then he ended up, his last fight was against no other person than Murray, Riyad Murray. That was a very, very tough fight for Anderson, not in terms of ability, but because he wasn't able to knock out his opponent. He normally does knock out his opponent, but Murray did not assert himself and made himself available to be knocked out. So that was quite difficult, and Gerald Anderson was not able to adjust and secure the knockout. Would he be able to do that against Martin Bakoli? I think it would be equally difficult to knock Martin Bakoli clean out by Gerald Anderson, but with the level of activity, it can be scored a technical knockout. Then the next fight I'll be talking about is no other person than former world champion, unified world champion in the person of Andy Ruiz Jr., who would be coming face to face with Gerald Miller, a man whom he took his opportunity to become a world champion. Yes, and Andy Ruiz Jr. took Gerald Miller's opportunity after Gerald Miller failed a drug test. Now, on that fateful night, Andy Ruiz Jr. went into the Madison Square Garden and beat Anthony A.J. Joshua and knocked him out in the 7th round. And ever since then, Andy Ruiz has not really been an active fighter. I think he has had just 3 fights. Then, though he has won all, but he hasn't looked super impressive in any of them, in my humble opinion. I think the inactivity, the surgery, is keeping Andy Ruiz Jr. lazy. Or he is so much content of becoming a world champion, hence he is not ready to take up new challenge. Whilst Gerald Anderson, after failing another drug test and being banned for 2 years, he has come back quite active, though losing his last fight to Daniel Dynamite Dubois. It was a good and entertaining fight. His pressure, I think, would be too much for Andy Ruiz Jr. per his inactivity and his level, as he looks like he would be coming in around 270 pounds. I think that the pressure from Big Baby would be too much for him. And if Big Baby comes down in weight and improve his gas stamina, I think that Big Baby would carry that particular night, and Andy Ruiz Jr. would be laughing at the wrong side of history. This is my initial take. I would be coming up with a prediction on Wednesday next week, days before the fight. So stay tuned to this channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know your views in the comment section and share this particular video with anyone who loves boxing. Thank you for watching. Stay positive. Your greatness has no limit.